All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so very glad and grateful that you are with us today here on the podcast. Welcome to episode 15 of the podcast, How Do You Know That, with Robert Hollis, and we are so glad to have you with us today. Now, before we get things going, if you are watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and share button. Also, as well as the subscribe buttons too. And when you do hit the subscribe button, make sure that you click on the bell icon that's right next to it, because it will let you know when we are broadcasting here from the Robert Hollis channel and sharing more great content with each and every one of you. And if you are
Also,
listening to us elsewhere in the podcast universe, also please like and share with friends and help us spread the word. Also, if you'd like to join our exclusive community, the Inner Circle, you can join us by going to roberthollis.com/join to register. There will be lots of great exclusive content, and you'll be able to participate in our very special breakthrough sessions to help you move on to the next level. And today is episode 15 of How Do You Know That with Robert Hollis, with a very special guest being interviewed. Now, allow me to introduce our host of today's show. He is an entrepreneurial evangelist renowned for his incredible achievements. He is also known for inspiring countless of individuals around the globe with his unwavering determination and spirit, and he has also helped 67 people as of this date become millionaires. Known as a millionaire mentor, GPS to success, and a dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mr. Robert Hollis.
well, thank you so much, Craig. I love and appreciate you so much. The special guest that we have on here is, I call him Joshua A, because I don't want to mess up his name. But, he's been in the company for a few months. He's already hit 50K. And we were talking about, with tomorrow being payday, I think if I thought of doing this at a different time, we would do it tomorrow after he got paid. And because it's just amazing. So I want to introduce you all to new 50K rank, Joshua, out of Nigeria. Joshua, how you doing?
Hello, Robert. Good to be here.
So thank you very much. So I guess the first question is, why don't you tell us a little bit about Joshua?
Wow. So I'm 37 years old. I'm married, and I have an 8-year-old, and I have a set of twins who are 5. Yeah.
A lot.
Yes. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm excited for being able to connect with. So this first of all is like a dream come true, Robert. I first saw you in 2013 on Eric Worre's GoPro stage, and I'll never forget that training. You were so you talked about designing the perfect day in your life, and I still have the book where I designed the perfect day in my life. And it's just unbelievable to be on your podcast tonight, being interviewed by you. This is a dream come true. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much.
Well, God is great, and I'm glad that we're finally connected. And 37, married with 3 kids. And so were you born and raised in Nigeria? Have you always been close to your home?
Yeah. So I was born here in Nigeria, raised in Nigeria. I'm the second of 5 children. Yeah, so we're 4 boys and then 1 girl who came after.
Wow. Yeah. That's great. So did you, similar to some people, did you get educated, and did you go get jobs like me and everybody else at the beginning?
Well, so I studied human nutrition in college. I studied nutrition. The plan was to study medicine, or I thought I wanted to study medicine. My mom happens to be a doctor, so I thought I wanted to study medicine, but I didn't quite make the score, the grade to get admitted for medicine. So I ended up studying nutrition. After school, sometime in school, I began to sell stuff, sell shirts, sell books, So I used to travel down to Lagos. I'd buy books, I'd bring them down, and then I'd go from bank to bank, sell the books. So that was my introduction into entrepreneurship, if you will. I never quite really had a job where I had to, like work for somebody else, because I started working within the family business.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. I mean, so my mom's dream had always been, even up until 2 years ago, has been that I would study medicine, that I would go back and become a doctor so that I could continue running the family business.
So hopefully one of the other siblings are going down that road.
Everybody's done with college. Nobody did medicine.
Oh, wow. That's very, very interesting. So you learned the concept of selling something and generating revenue really young in life then.
Yes. Well, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, maybe I was 13 or 14, so that already something in my mind about, becoming a business owner, owning your own business and not working for anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read that book until I was like 29. So you're way ahead of me, Joshua. And can you enunciate or pronounce your last name for us?
Well, so there's a way I say it, okay? But the way I say it, I don't think is the correct way to say it. So unfortunately, I didn't grow up in the state where I originally come from, so I can't speak my native language. So I call it Amotsuka. Amotsuka. Yes, okay. With a silent T, Amotsuka. But if people from my native town heard me say it that way, they'd probably get upset.
I totally understand what you're saying. It's me traveling all over the world. People find out that I'm dyslexic and I have difficulty reading words. And so people just say, call me Jim. They're so nice to me because they'll just say, hey, just call me this nickname because you're never going to get it. So you're known in my family, Joshua, not only as a blessing, but you're known as Joshua 50K or Joshua A. Because we got, Joshua Zuego, we got Joshua Daramella. There's a lot of Joshuas. Must be a great name for people in Nigeria.
Yeah, so I guess so.
Yeah. So being an entrepreneur your entire life, when was the first time that you got exposed to, direct sales or network marketing or affiliate marketing? Because I'm learning about you the same time as everybody else. So I don't know your history of being involved in companies like MDC or other companies.
Okay, so it was in 2013. Okay, so before then, I had started a nutrition consulting business, right? And then I used to sell fitness equipment. Okay. So my mind was just one way: nutrition, health, fitness. And so a friend of mine told me about a product then from the US that was in Nigeria, that was launching in Nigeria, but I had never heard of network marketing. Now, I had seen people do it growing up. As a matter of fact, I remember now my pastor's wife had called me to come and help us sell some perfumes, but I never knew that it was network marketing. I had a cousin who had some products, some health products going up. My mom also always used to bring all these different supplements now and again, but she never succeeded at selling them, right? So I didn't know it was network marketing. And then a friend of mine tells me about this product launching in Nigeria. And I looked at the product and it looked really nice. It looked, like a valuable product to sell. But that's all I thought about it. So He kept trying to get me to sign up and all of that. And I was wondering, hey, I can sell this thing. I'm fine with selling it. What's all this other stuff you're trying to get me to do? So I remember traveling down 2 hours to attend the presentation, but I didn't understand anything about the business, but I understood the product. So I got back home, was getting ready to start to buy the products to sell. And then interestingly, they then opened a center in my town, just almost opposite our hospital. So this is like 3 months later. So he calls me and says, "Hey, Joshua, is it not interesting that we're going to be opening a center right opposite your hospital?" And so the day of the opening, he asked me to come over to come and take a look. And again, I walked in, I saw everybody excited, but I didn't get what they were saying. So I just walked, went back to work, but then something happened. So I guess I got into network marketing by mistake, by accident. I mean, so he believed so much in my ability to sell. And so he spoke to some other guy who was willing to pay for me to get started.
Wow.
Somebody I never met in my life. So I think this was Christmas. And so this guy comes to my house and he comes with this other guy and he says, "This person wants to help you get started." And so he gives me 3 bottles of the product, and asks me to sell, and then I can give him back the money. And that was how I got started. It wasn't, I mean, so I was just selling the products to make a profit, but then I also wanted to get married the following year. And I needed lots of money to get married.
Families cost money, don't they? Families cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so,
right.
It like you said with when I first got involved in network marketing, I didn't know it was network marketing, and I did the same thing. The first 2 weeks that I was in the company, I was trying to sell water filters. I knew everyone's water was bad, so I'm just going to sell water filters. And then I met somebody that told me to reach to the company and talk to my mentor. That ended up being my mentor, and he's going, "Listen, I got 30,000 people underneath me, and that's how I make this incredible money. You got to learn to build a group." And I was going, I was so simple, Joshua, that I thought by getting other people in the company that I was making competition. I was like, wait a minute, I don't want them selling on my turf. So it took me a while to understand, like Rich Dad Poor Dad, that I was treating network marketing or building a group, I was treating it like I was self-employed instead of treating it like a business owner. And so when I had that shift in my mind, things went very, very well. So it's that is awesome. So so when you first heard about MDC, I know that I'll be bold with you. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I've been in 19 different companies, and half of the companies that I've been involved in that I even got trophies for are no longer in business. And so, the joke has always been with me is that the person that I really admire is a guy named Jeff Roberti. I was in his downline, and the difference between Jeff and I is about $60 million in earnings. And the reason that he's made double my income is because he's still with the same company that I met him at 36 years ago. Now, wow. Before that, he was in Herbalife, and the company had went to $1 billion, I think, in 1985. But then Mark Hughes got in a fight with the government in the United States, and it went from $1 billion down to $1 million. So a lot of the leaders had left Herbalife and went to NSA. And I just thank God every day that I met these guys, and they were rebuilding to a top of another company. So that's where I got to see what they do instead of being told what to do. And so have you been extremely successful at every network marketing company that you've done?
No. So my first run, in that company, I was able to get a group going. And in my 8th month, I hit a rank where I began to earn $2,500 to $3,000. So I got married in that month. And that was where I actually saw the power of the residual income, because I took a break, went on honeymoon, and the incomes, it kept coming in. And so it now began to make sense. So that was where I saw the power of people. But I didn't have any skills. It was just raw passion, a lot of hype, a lot of exaggeration, all the bad culture that, sometimes our industry is known for, So it was until later that year that I began to discover that, oh, this is actually a profession. There's skills you can learn. There's a way to invite people. So I remember one day traveling in a bus and, someone was talking to somebody in the bus about our product, and she said she wasn't interested. And I was quite rude. I said, leave her, let her keep struggling,
Yeah.
I didn't know about, how to invite people, and all of that. Yeah. So I enjoyed that income for maybe 6 months to 8. So it would go down to like 1,005, come back up 2,000, 2005. But so that was 2013. By 2015, the economy changed in Nigeria, and so things began to go down because the price of the products now became it doubled. And being a health supplement, there was a recession in Nigeria, so many people began to look for cheaper alternatives. So by 2016, I left that company. Yeah.
Okay. And what other companies, what other companies were you successful in them? And what other kind of companies have you tried to build this, what do they call it? Like an oasis, an oasis is like always the dream of having, all these people underneath you.
Yeah. So there's something about network marketing. Once you really get it, it's like it gets your heart and, it captures your soul. And, so this dream about financial freedom. So there was another company that my upline went to, and he got me signed on there, but I didn't like the product and I didn't like the culture. So I never really did anything there. But in 2020, and this was when, again, I joined your group, I joined your Facebook group. So there was another company that came to Nigeria, and I loved the products, a US company, and I loved the products. And so I started to build. And so by this time I had read books, I had done a lot of personal development, taking a lot of courses, but I hadn't found any vehicle that I was going to, really sink my teeth into. So I joined your group back then, and I learned a lot, and you were so gracious to open it to everyone in 2020. So I began to grow a group and began to make some money, but unfortunately, bad management, that company is no longer in business, so 22 months and they were gone because there was so much mismanagement. You could order for $1,000 of products and you get $2,000 worth of products, because the guys at shipping were doing all kinds of, so they eventually had to shut down. And so after that, I became so upset, and then there's a video by Nathan Ricks where I heard him talk about his experience in network marketing, where he said, when he got involved, he would join a good company, build this income, and then they'll go out of business, join another company, make money, and then they'll go out of business. And so he quit network marketing, saying that they're good products, but people run, that they don't know how to run the business.
I'm
done. So it's interesting that I told myself that I wasn't going to do network marketing again, that I was going to look for other ways to make money. And as a matter of fact, earlier this year, my phone was full and I needed some more space on my phone. So I deleted everything that had to do with network marketing because I had a lot of training on my phone that had been sitting there for years. So I deleted every single training that had to do with network marketing.
I did it too.
Yeah. So I never really found, success. I never had a group this large. I never built it this fast. Never. No.
So now, I just wanted people to know that with your and my success comes a lot of failures. I call them lessons, but it's when the last company I built, it was so huge. It was like 758,000 people, earning almost $3 million a year. And all of a sudden it's like, it's not there anymore. And so that's where I said, that was the third time I retired. And I tell people with, my daily choice, my wife pulled me out of retirement. I I really truly wasn't going to do this anymore. And so what she did is she said to me and Matthew, my son, she said, would you help me build this? And she supported me at this time for over, 35 years. So there's like, if you're asking me to, so I can do a little bit with your business. And similar to you, wow, the how fast it grew still blows my mind today, and so, I know you've been involved and congratulations on being featured in Business from Home, and stuff like that. I mean, it's like for you to look at your life 3 years ago, because I understand that you were with another company and they had bad management as well. And so not only did you make money, but they just forgot to pay you.
Yeah.
And so tell everybody how it's been in NDC since you started.
It's been phenomenal. It's been awesome. But some of the training I had been exposed to had kind of begun to change my mindset. So it's interesting. I had been out of the industry, but I was following a lot of top earners. I had you on C First. I had I had Jenna Zwigel on C First. I had Candice. It's interesting, in 2020, Candice Byrne. I watched a lot of her presentations because I loved the way she used to present, so I tried to reverse engineer her presentation to use it for my presentation in my company, right. So I was following John Mel, a lot of all these other guys. And so what it began to do is it just began. So I audited my social media such that I didn't see posts from just, my friends and people who were broke. So I was only seeing posts from people who were making money in network marketing. So I guess that's began to do something to me, to let me know that, one, these guys are everyday people, and it began to raise my level of belief. So somewhere in there, something was saying, if I ever had the opportunity to do this again, I would do this differently. But I just didn't find the product. I just didn't find the company. So when this came, I knew that I couldn't do this the way I did it before. I couldn't be the same person. I couldn't look for shortcuts. I would have to bring 100% work ethic. I would have to be responsible for my results. So I just came with a different mindset this time. And honestly, my wife has never seen me like this. My kids have never seen me like this. And so it was the 29th of May. The government in Nigeria took away the subsidy on petrol. And so the price of fuel tripled. And a friend of mine called me and said, Josh, what are we going to sell now that the price of everything is going up? And it just hit me that there's a fuel treatment somebody reached out to me about 3 months ago. It's time for this business. So I mentioned it to another friend of mine. And 1 hour from that time, he had me on a conference call with Joshua Daramola and with Mosh. And Daramola was so awesome. He just kept talking about Robert Hollis. He's working with Robert Hollis, and this guy has helped 67 people become millionaires and all of that, So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I want to be on this team. So I called my friend and said, look, we're going to work with this team because Robert Hollis, is their mentor. And so that's how I got involved. At the time, so Daramola said he was going to help us set up a meeting with you, and I was looking forward to that. But in the beginning, I just knew that I had to take massive action.
Yeah.
While myself and my friends, so sometimes we'd have a conference call, and once it was 5 minutes, I'll say, look, this call is getting too long. We should be prospecting. And I'll hang up the phone. And I'll get back to prospecting. Because, so something happened in the month of May, which I told you about, Robert. I lost a lot of money in some very risky deals in the month of May. And so I was in a place where I needed to make money very fast. And so my goal for my first month of June was actually 25K. Wow. Now, did I know how I was going to do 25K? No. I had no idea how I was going to do it. But I just knew that I was going to push myself beyond everything that had ever stopped me before. So, and what I've come to find is that when you set a goal and you begin to do the work, somehow God sees that this person believes, and he now begins situations to make that thing happen. There's a story that hit me, and I've always shared this with my team, that the biggest problem we have as people is that we don't believe. So we say we want something, but we actually don't believe. And there's a story that a pastor said, Pastor Sam, he said that if there was a prophecy that came that you would catch a whale in 2023, so a voice comes from heaven, this year you are going to catch a whale. And 5 other people come at different times and they say, I sense God telling me you are going to catch a whale this year. So 5 people have now confirmed what you heard from heaven. So it's confirmed. 2023, you are going to catch a whale. He said the proof, the evidence that you believe that you are going to catch a whale is that you will go out to the Atlantic Ocean to start to fish. That if you go to the stream in your neighborhood to go and try to fish, that is proof you don't believe you are going to catch a whale, because a whale will never show up in the small pond in your backyard. And so our actions actually tell whether or not we believe for something. So by my actions, I needed to show God that I was serious this time around. And so I just decided I would keep, going at it and going at it and going at it. And look what the Lord has done.
It's there's a phrase that I know that you've heard. I was supposed to do a video today, a Facebook Live, a YouTube Live, but I was on a Zoom with Josh Wagle and a bunch of the leaders in this company on something new that they're going to launch on the 15th of this month, and it's going to blow people away. I mean, I've never seen all the leaders this excited, because we're trying to figure out how to make something so simplistic. And so it was funny when you guys started growing that I started sending some of your guys' videos to Josh, and they're less than 4 minutes long. You know what I mean? And everybody's going like, so my mentor said to me that, say as little as possible to as many people as you can, as fast as you can. And when you talk about faith and belief, there's this thing that I get when I get in a new company, and that's a little thing called ignorance on fire. It's like a lot of people want to get me to explain the comp plan, and they get mad at me because I'm so simple. And I go, you want to make no money? Talk to nobody. You want to make a little bit of money? Talk to a little bit of people. And I said, you want to make a lot of money? You talk to a lot of people. And so you probably have heard my training where I tell people, my mentor challenged me that I couldn't show this short video to 70 people in my first 30 days. And I said, I'm not only going to do it, but if it doesn't work, I'm going to come beat you up. Because I knew nothing about this industry. And so 36 years ago, I did what he told me, and I made $10,000. And when we joined MDC, I did the same thing, and Terry made $10,000. And now, me knowing that you're going to go over 10K, your first couple of months in the business, I mean, if there's nothing that makes us a person a believer, it's getting a belief check for doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so if someone said to you, Joshua, because they ask this all the time, right? People that don't believe, that won't have faith, ignorance on fire, they ask you questions that you don't know the answer to. So I know people are watching this because they're excited. Hey, Joshua, how'd you hit 50K? How'd you hit 50K? And the questions that they always ask are, so in the first couple of months that you were in the company, how many hours did you spend contacting and talking to people? So I'm asking for them. So Joshua, how many hours have you spent since you started and made a commitment to MDC? How many hours have you spent talking to people?
Since June, when I started, this is like literally all I've done. I rearranged every other thing I was doing, okay, to make this a priority. I've done a Zoom call every night since the 5th of June.
Wow.
Yeah. So in my first 48 hours, in my first 2 days, I contacted 87 people in my first 2 days. And in 2 weeks, 16 of them had signed up, so I hit 1K in 13 days. And by 21 days, I'd hit 10K, by 21 days. I mean, it just happened, but, I was taking a lot of action. I was talking to people, and then, because great leaders, they saw it. Now, in the first few days, I didn't understand the comp plan. And I would say, so when I started Zoom, I would say that don't be a professor of the comp plan, that this thing is better experienced than understood, that you can't walk into a grocery shop tomorrow and say, hey, the comp plan says this, and you go there with stuff. But if you earn the money, you can go into a car dealership and you can walk out with a car. So don't try to understand every nitty-gritty about the comp plan. And, it's funny, it was as I began to rank up, I began to understand the compensation plan, that, when you get to 1K, the fifth level of the jumpstart opens up. I didn't understand all of that, so there were some things I said wrong in my first 3 weeks, because the first month people say, hey, but you told us this and this and this about the comp plan. Well, sorry, I'm still learning. I'm still new. I'm less than 30 days in.
I know. You and Mosh have been working so fast. And so when you guys hit 25K and then 50K, and then I get a message from Mosh, and it's like, what does this mean? What does this mean that an extra month? What the hell does this extra month mean? And I go, it's right in the comp plan. It's in the comp plan. I said, no, don't allow the adversary to steal your joy. Get back in the game. It's like, so man, I just love your enthusiasm, and I know you probably have heard that in Thesos, means God within. And I always let this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And for all the people that are out there that decided to be coaches instead of making millions in network marketing, I can honestly tell you, Joshua, it's my ability to be able to trick myself to going back into ignorance on fire. Because it's just like my belief, when I know that God has done things for me, when I start hanging around people that are asking questions, well, I don't understand. I just go back to my testimonial of how much my life was changed when I decided to believe in him. And it's like people start getting into the logic part of it, into thinking and trying to understand, when it says in the scriptures, lean not on your own understanding. And so even explaining the product, I think, has always been funny for me. It's like, how does FFX work? You take a picture of your dash when you feel full of gas. And then when you need to fill up next time, take a picture of your gas, and there's more kilometers than there was the last time.
Right.
It's like, wait, what do you mean? It's like, people get into all the technical stuff about it. So in the closing moments, I don't want you to take too much longer. I know we got some people on here that Craig might ask some questions of you, but where do you see your future? I know you told me boldly where you're going to take this company in your position, but why don't you share it with the rest of the people?
So we're going to master affiliate, and the Nigerian market has enough to create 50 master affiliates. Now, thankfully, this has now begun to expand outside Nigeria. People in Uganda are now reaching out, people in Cameroon, people in, other African countries. So, and then this is a global business. There's people in the UK, there's people in Canada, there's people all around the world. We only just happen to be focusing on Nigeria right now because of the timing of the FFX product. But honestly, I cannot wait to start selling instantly ageless. I can't wait to start selling the the coffee beans, the what's it called? Lava, Java bean.
Lean bean, Java bean or something.
Yeah. So many amazing products, so but for now we're just taking it one step at a time.
Yeah. And you're going to be surprised. You're hearing about it probably before everyone. People will go, what are you guys talking about? But we're really going to do something to make the messaging simple, simple. So people can go, oh, okay, I can do this, and then I'll do this. So let's, if you don't mind, Joshua, we'll take a couple of questions, and then we'll go ahead and allow you to go.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
At the moment, I don't see anybody with questions in the chat.
That's awesome.
Obviously, Joshua, you are making sense to everybody because of you following Robert and the documentation that he brings to this conversation.
Yeah, 100%. And
there's
if you allow me,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we had a situation back in June, and I just want to take this moment now to thank Robert publicly. We had this moment in June when products ran out, and I freaked out, and my people freaked out, because there was so much excitement, and we're starting to build. And I remember, reaching out to Robert to say, Robert, we're out of products, and people are freaking out. What are we going to do? And I was kind of skeptical, wondering if Robert would be able to talk to our people, and he said, anytime you need me, I'm ready to talk to your people. And I just said, let me try and see if he'll be available, sometime 2 or 3 days. And he said, anytime you want me, I'll be available to talk to your people. And I said, can we have you tomorrow? And he said, you can have me anytime. And I was just like, wow. So I said, okay, awesome, let's do it. And I talked to my people, and that, Robert coming on at that time to talk to everybody, because already some of the excitement was beginning to go down. So just that word from Robert just had everybody excited again, and at different, when I hit 25K, that was in July. So again, there were some other things going on, some challenges going on, and, people were complaining here and there, left, right, and center. And I guess I was allowing myself, to listen to so much of the negativity. So it began to weigh me down. And I remember calling Robert and saying, I'm just 25K and I have how many people in my group, and I feel so overwhelmed. And you are where you are, and you have teams in America, and you have teams in Nigeria, and you have in Hungary, in Europe. How do you do it? How do you handle so many people pulling you in different directions? And I'll never forget what Robert said, because at that point, I just felt I couldn't do this anymore. And Robert said, it starts with gratitude, that he just tries to stay in a place of being grateful. And he said, what's the alternative to the problem that you have? Would you rather have nobody calling you, and then you're also not making this money, you're also not making any impact? That's the alternative. Is that what you prefer? And immediately just switched something in my thinking. And I saw that, oh, so yes, this is actually a good problem. There are people who don't have anybody pulling them in different directions, but they don't have any money coming in. So I began to see how people at Robert's level think, that obviously they view challenges with a different lens, and that has really helped me tremendously. So whenever problems come, I try to take a different perspective and just stay grateful and know that it's all part of the journey, and it's just another thing to overcome and get better and get better. So thank you so much, Robert, for the access, for the wisdom, and all that you provided for us. Thank you.
I'm always available for you, as you know. And, I'm far from perfect. My mentor helped me exactly the same way because, we're programmed to focus on the negative, so when there's people that are having problems, we take our focus off our vision and we start focusing on trying to take care of their problem. And the way my mentor explained it to me is he goes, Robert, every level of bigger impact, every level of making a bigger difference the adversary is there to steal your joy away immediately. So you need to be aware and conscious that, oh my God, look at how awesome things are. And then start looking for it, because it's coming. And so you had problems at the end of last month hitting 25K, and those were resolved. And now we hit 50K, and now there's a whole different issue of stuff that's happening in Nigeria. And I'm just telling people, I seen an interview with Tom Hanks, and he had all the A-listers there. There were Tom Cruise and John Travolta and all these major people. And it was on one of those things, Craig, where they talked the cast or whatever. And Matt loves the show and Terry loves the show. And they asked Tom Hanks, what is the best piece of advice he's ever gotten? And he said, the best piece of advice is this too will pass. And he goes, you got to focus on that, because he says, I've had really good months in my life, and this too will pass. So when we're in the height of our enthusiasm and our excitement and everything is going great, it's probably going to change the next month. I always say that it's going to be better in a different way. But my focus has to be to helping more people succeed, helping more people get rank advances, and help those that want to go to the next level. And there's always going to be this group of people that stop focusing on the vision and then focusing on the problem. So now they're like, I don't like the color of the FFX packs. I think that I've had people call me up and go, you know what you could do with the FFX packs? If it takes 2 in the first treatment, can you make them with 2 amounts in them? And I'm going like, so you can't put 2 in? You can't, you And in a previous company, Joshua, with coffee, one of my best friends of all time, he's no longer living. His name is Fred Herzog. And when I first told him about the company I was in, he said, Robert, I don't drink hot drinks. That's what he told me. I don't like coffee. I don't like hot chocolate. I don't like hot drinks. And I looked at him, Joshua, and I said, well, listen, get up in the morning, pour yourself a cup of coffee, and then walk away from it. I said, when it's no longer hot, then drink it. So I say that because our goal is to help people when they're really focused on the negative, is to get that gratitude in their life and start thinking about, man, are you going to allow this one thing to take you out of the game? And you and I have talked about other leaders that's happened to already. It's like someone shining a silver ball over here and they're like, and they're listening to that. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go, Joshua, but
I do have 2 questions if Joshua has time.
No, yeah, sure, I want to, believe it or not, I want to end it here because it's
okay. Very good.
Positive. Yeah. So what I want you to do, Joshua, is, you don't have to pretend or say, my audience is my audience. They know that I go off on them. But, if you would, for us, the people that are going to watch this video that are still skeptical, even though they believe that the opportunity is fair for everyone, they still haven't gone into action. They're still focused on the reasons not to do this business instead of the reason to do this business. And I know how clear your vision is. If there's anything that's impressed me about you and how fast you succeeded, Joshua, is my definition of a leader is what other people say about them when they're not around. And your people love you. They just love you. So that means that you're inspiring them, you're leading them, you're giving them hope, you're lifting them up. So with all the stuff that you've done to be successful on your way to master affiliate, why don't you share with people from your heart in closing words, something that you think would help them?
Right. So very, very recently, like maybe over the last month, right? I began to see that even though I joined for me, it's really about other people, because I began to hear people's stories. Somebody called me last week, Saturday. She was still grieving her husband. So in Nigeria, there are some cultures where if your husband passes away, you have to do some grieving rites. And so she called me. I don't know where she got my number from. And she said she wanted me to help her, grow the business. And, and so I just hear all of these stories. And so I understand now that it really has to be about helping people succeed. This morning, we got a testimonial that came in. Somebody was sharing his experience with the product and he was laughing. Okay. So he had bought the usual amount of fuel and it had taken him, much longer. Now, I didn't even understand the language he was speaking, but he was happy and he was laughing. And it just hit me that if this becomes about making 10 million people smile, and so if we make that our focus, if we make that our goal, that we want to help people's lives to be better, there are only two emotions in life. You're either coming from a place of love or from a place of fear. And if you are actually coming from that place of love, where you actually want to make somebody's life better, you will not be afraid of rejection. You would have a sense of urgency to reach out to people. And so the reason why sometimes we don't take action is because we're thinking about ourselves. We're thinking about maybe, you're in debt, maybe you have some upcoming bills. And so you're thinking about your problems. And so for me, what I did is I turned my back on my problems. Like I said, in the month of May, I had lost huge amounts of money. I almost had a heart attack in May, losing all that money. But I came to a point where I said I was going to look away from that. And so I guess all I'm saying to you is make this about somebody else. Make this about the people that you care about. What kind of life do you want your children to enjoy? For me, I want my family to come to a place where money doesn't make all the decisions. And there's a story I share on the Zoom calls. I went to buy some medication for my child one day, and they told me the price of the antibiotic. And I asked if there was a cheaper one. Now, this was the original one, okay? The one made by the original company that had the original formula. But then I asked, don't you have the generic ones? And then they sold me the generic ones. And as I was driving back home, a voice began to play in my head. So how long are you going to do this? How long are you going to look for the cheapest alternative for your child that you love? This is clearly not the most potent, but because you're playing small, you're hurting your family. So make this about somebody else. Make this about the people that you care about. Make this about impacting, bringing smiles to the faces of people, and you'll find that you're taking more action. You'll find that you're working with a sense of urgency, and things will begin to change for you. Thank you so much, Robert.
Awesome, man. All I have to say is amen. So thank you, Joshua, so much. This is not going to be the last Zoom or interview I'm going to do with you. I think people want to know, hear from you when you hit 100K. I want to do another one when you hit 250K, and let's get people focused on the thing that's most important, which is getting someone else to smile. I mean, when you said that, if all I got was people calling me on Thursday going, I can't believe what's in my credit wallet. Oh my God. And Joshua, I shared your story with some of my inner circle people about where people just don't understand that your I believe it was your relative, Edwin, that called you up and said, I can't tell you how much it means to put fish in my rice. And because he had been poor so long that he only ate rice, he didn't put protein in his rice. And I think that people really, really misunderstand that this is about, I can't, every Thursday I'm thinking about Edwin and you, and I'm thinking about, Mosh and Joshua Daramella, to think that guy, I feel like Joshua Daramella is like Moses, man. I feel like he's been in the desert for 3 years, But because he wouldn't give up, he found you and found Mosh. And now his life is very, very, very different. So, Joshua, thank you so much. I'm going to turn this back over to Craig to close it out. I love and appreciate you, Joshua. I'm so proud of you. I'm really, really super proud of you. And I can't wait to come to Nigeria and meet your family and break bread with you. I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you, Robert. We're looking forward to having you as well. Thank you.